Today I'm going to walk you through the Excel basics and get you started on Excel. So when you open Excel, this is one of the pages that you'll see right away. And you can see on the left side here in the columns, we're going to focus on these three buttons. There are a bunch of options here which we will not get into in this video, but I want to make sure you understand. If you want to set up a new notebook, you're going to click here and we can select blank notebook. That is primarily what we're going to work on today. However, there's other options for you. I want to show you these templates down here. So these are pre-filled templates, pre-filled Excel documents for different functions. All right, if you come up here, it's a little easier to see that they're organized by type: business, personal, calendars, etc. So let's click on the lists here for a second, just so I can show you. All right. So these are pre-filled. They're given to you by Microsoft, and you can certainly open these up and use them. All right. If you want a chore schedule, you want a to-do list, inventory for a business, for example, you can go here and use that. I wanted to show you this. There's also several tutorials here, basic tutorials that Microsoft provides. And if you wanted something customized like a mortgage loan, right? You want to do something for your mortgage, there's a template for that, loan amortization schedule, all right, payments, things like that. You can go right in here and use their templates without knowing how to calculate all these things yourself. All right? But I think the reason you're here is you want to be able to build spreadsheets yourself, so let's get back into this here. All right, and then if you wanted to open an existing file, you would simply hit open. If you had a file in one of your directories, you would open that and open that through this link here. All right, so we're going to click on that. And now you have the basic setup of Excel. Each of these rectangles here are called cells. They're referenced by columns and rows. And you can see here the cell we're in, it's highlighted B3. You can see it's a little bit different shading here. It tells you what cell you're currently in. Also, you can tell what cell you're definitely in by up here. It tells you what cell you're in. All right, and it also highlights the box and outlines it for you. Okay. Up here are the menu bars. The menu bars have different pieces of information. To show the information at all times, you can come up here, click this, and it gives you different options as to what to show for the menu bar. So right now I have it on the middle ground here, just showing the tabs, just showing the menu bars. But if you want to show all the functions underneath it, you go back and you click Show Tabs and all the commands that you can use here. So we're not going to walk through all of these in this video, but we are primarily going to use the font and the alignment functionality in the Home tab. But I just want to show you that you can here, for example, you can change the font type. There's a whole bunch of different fonts available to you. You can change the font size. These arrows mean increase it slightly, or you can decrease it slightly. All right, so you go to 10, or you can increase it to 11 to 12. All right, different colors, etc. Each of these has different functionalities or commands below it, and they're organized as such. So if you need to do something, if you need to format something, if you want to insert something, you go to these tabs, and you can do it right here. Okay. What I'm going to try and do today is we're going to demonstrate a very basic list. I'm going to show you how to create a list. I'm going to show you how to enter data. I'm going to show you how to format that data, and we're going to end our first video and hopefully you get some basics look and feel of Excel and how to move around in Excel. All right. So first, the way you move around in Excel is you can simply click the cells with your mouse, left side of your mouse. You can also use your arrow keys, right, left, down. Okay. You can also use the tab button. You have a tab button there. Tab button primarily pushes you to the right. Okay. If you want to come back to the left, you're going to hit the shift key, hold it down, and hit tab. You go backward. All right. Then you have the enter key. The enter key is on the right side of your keyboard. You're going to hit enter. It brings you down by default. All right, you can advance downward by default. If you wanted to go up, like I just suggested before, you're going to hit the shift key and you're going to hit enter and go back up. So this is how you primarily move around the spreadsheet. Now, I told you our example is going to be a list, let's say for a party. So let's start. So we're going to say, pick a cell that you want to have the information. And I typically start a little lower because you're going to want to have headers up here and you're going to want a little space, you can put the beginning up here if you wanted to. That's not a big deal. You can adapt to your own style. For me, I like to start here. That way I have a little bit of room. So first we're going to say last name, first name of the contact person, and then just for starters we're going to say number of people, meaning how many people are going to come to this party. We can add a whole bunch of other information, which we'll do in other videos perhaps, but for now let's just stick with this. All right. And what you're going to do now is, the way I advanced from right to left is, I said, hey, I typed in last name, I moved over with my arrow key, I moved over with my arrow key. All right, I'm doing that now. Now you're simply going to type in somebody's last name. So let's use the classic Gene Smith here, and Gene is going to bring a total of 4 people to the party. Now here I just hit enter. It brought me down. Remember, if you hit the enter key, it brings you down. You can arrow back up to move around the spreadsheet. If you want to get back to here, you can simply click it with your mouse, or simply move over with your arrow keys. Very straightforward. All right. I'm going to put in Thomas Marks is going to bring 6 people. And then one more person. Lloyd Bridge. All right, Lloyd Bridge is going to bring 2 people. So now you have a very basic list. Again, I'm using my mouse here. Move it around. I'm just going to click in this cell. Now what you'll notice here, first thing, is that this column is truncated. If you look there, it says last name. The E is cut off a little bit, if you notice that. So since that's cut off, we're going to want to widen these columns, or this column in particular. And there's a couple ways you can do that. One, you put your cursor in the column. As you slide over, you'll notice the cursor will change. Okay, the cursor changes. And this allows you, if you click the mouse, the left button on the mouse, click it and hold it down, don't let go of it, you can slide this to the right. Obviously, you can do it again and slide it back to the left. And that way you can size the column to your liking. Okay, another thing you can do there is, once again, hover over, make sure you get this cursor. You can double click the mouse and it'll snap this size back to what they refer to as sort of the perfect size, the perfect width. Okay, and you can do that for this as well. So this one's also truncated, so you can, let's just say we're going to double click this one here, and it widens it out to the perfect length. And same here, you can see this one is hanging over the edge as well, this column. For this one, I'm going to show you a different technique. You can do exactly what I just did, but what you can also do is come up into the column here, into E, hover over it, and you're going to use your right mouse button, right click, and a little short little menu pops up for very frequently used functions. And if you come down to here, you can see column width. All right, and you click that, and you can see the column width says 8.09. We want that to be wider, so I'm going to just make up a number and say we want it to be 11. And it widens it out for you. So that's 3 different ways you can size and resize these columns. Very important when you're entering data. Okay, next, what you might want to do is, again, using my arrow keys here, all right, you may want to highlight these and bold them, make them bold lettering. Let me show you how to do that. So you can do this with the mouse, whereas you would click on the cell with your button and slide, keep the button clicked and slide it across, and then release. That way you've highlighted all 3 of these. Then you come up here in the font area, and you can see here, let's bold the characters. We can also italicize them. We can also underline them. And we can also undo those. So you can see those 3 are bolded there. You can see that they're selected, and you can go back and just undo those things. All right, we're going to keep ours bolded for now. You can see when it bolds, it widens it out a little bit. So what I always like to do is just re-highlight, okay, and double click that again, just to make sure it's all spaced out properly. Now what we also like to do from a formatting perspective is we can change the font size right now. All right, you can highlight with your mouse, click, and just pull around, grab all the information here. Now you're highlighting the entire set of data. That's called a range. And what you can do is you come up here and you can change the font if you wanted to. So let's change the font. You click this, and let's do Arial. It's a very popular font, Arial. And then we want to change this to, let's say, 14. All right, we can up arrow it, or you can change the numbers right in here directly. All right, I'm going to use 14. Now, once again, look, you can see we truncated our numbers, our letters. So I'm going to go ahead, highlight all three of these up here, double click, and it respaces them for you. All right, so now you have a little bit bigger font, a little different font. Misspelled this. Okay. The way I did that, by the way, the way you go back into a cell, you click the cell, and if you want to go into it to change something, you can double click it, and it allows you to edit. So you can click around and you can move your cursors. All right, and if his name was not Lloyd, his name would be James. You can retype it and hit enter, and now that information is stored in that cell. Okay, what else we might do? Well, we might want to center, instead of these numbers being all the way on the right, we may want to make them on the left like these are. We may want to make them in the center. All right, so we have an alignment tab right here. We can hit center, left, right. You can also make the numbers vertically to the middle or to the top of the cell, whatever you would like. So I'm going to change these to be in the middle there. So I just highlighted the three cells and click there. So now you have a nice list. All right, what else do we want to do with this list? Well, we can underline this. Now I told you before we can underline all three of these with the underline. And what that does is, let me just pull this out so you can see it a little better. It underlines very specifically the wording, but it doesn't underline the whole cell, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this, and this is your preference. We're going to underline that. Now each one of these cells, if you come here, you can adjust what the borders are of the cells, because the cells have borders, right? A top, a left, a bottom, and a right. So you can change the borders. What I like to do personally is have a thick bottom border here. So now you can see the border, and let me just pull this out for you so you can see it. Now you can see the border goes all the way across and highlights all the way across, even out. Okay, even if there's no lettering there. It's different than the underline. All right, so now you have a nice formatted spreadsheet. Hope that was helpful. Remember, this is first of 2 Excel basic videos. In the next video, I will be showing you how to do some basic calculations and some other formatting options. And then from there, I'm going to be adding more content, more specific functions, and more targeted functionality in Excel. So please like this video, subscribe if you want to see this type of content, but importantly, add some comments below as to some functions or some things you want to see in other videos so I can target to my audience.